So Asr Mechilas Adam is usually for the Yisurim. But Tosis here says, now for Pesach has to be Nifso Mechilas Lekelev. The Be'inyan Achar Lo Have Shari Dumia de Pas Sheishba Per Kama. So we saw this case where you have moldy bread. So the moldy bread is not to be eaten of the kelev. So the be'inyan acher in another manner, i.e., if the food is not nifso mechilas kelev, it wouldn't be mutter, just like the pas that the moldy pas that is you can't eat it on if it's chametz you can't eat it on Pesach. So it has to be nifso mechilas kelev. Shitas Taisus. Now Shitas Taisus here. Now Taisus for sure is saying anything that nefsol mechilas kelev is mutter bahana on Pesach. That is for sure. Now we have a shot as to whether it's mutter le'achila. And also we have the Ran says that the reason that you need for all Isurim is nifso lechilas Adam, but by Chometz is nifso lechilas kelev, is that So'or is not real food, and So'or has a chiyuv of Bali Roy and Bali Motzeh. So therefore we see that the food of So'or is nifso lechilas Adam. People don't eat. It's the starter yeast that you make bread with. So that men don't eat. Yet it's still chayiv for Bali Yori, Bali Matzeh. So therefore you see by Chometz, there's a special thing of nifsol lechidas kelev versus Adam. So the Ryan, again, this is on the Dafei Harif, Harcho, Perish, Kagon, Shaharcho, Ad She'ena Kelev Yechol Lecholol. So you burn it to a place where the kelev can eat it. It's like Toisvis, has to be nifsol mi kelev. Dilav hachi, we said in Eroiv in Rapash Ishva nifsol me'echol la'adam. So you have moldy bread, and it's nifsol from man eating it, since it's fitting for a dog to eat it, and you need beer. You still need to get rid of it. So therefore, only once it is nifsol mikelev, then you have the beer. We have mutter bahano. So bedinhu. So here's the key words of the Ran: afilu be'achila. So you can eat a nami shari. So again, this is before the fourth hour, before the Isra Chometz comes in. You destroy bread. So again, the charcoal really is just you're toasting this piece of bread until it's just charcoal, it's just completely black. So there he says even bechila nami shari, that's mutter to eat it on Pesach. Now you can't get bread on Pesach, burn it and eat it, because this all has to be burnt before Pesach, and then you remove the Isra before Pesach. So the Ran holds that you can get chometz, burn it until it's black, big black charcoal, posul nechilas kelev, and then eat it. Kevin chasing me towards pas. It's not pas. It's not chometz. It's not bread anymore. Kodem sheichol bo iser. Ela lefisha ein derech achila belechem. Charuch. Since you don't eat, now he's the Ran is answering a question here, and he's saying, why does it say it's mutter b'hano? We should have said it's mutter b'achila, but mutter b'achila would be a much bigger chiddush than mutter b'hano, because it's not the way to eat lechem that's so burnt. Therefore, it says loshin de mutter b'hanoso, because even if you ate it, it's not v'chilahi. See, afilu da'achil le'ila v'chilahi. If you burn toast, like properly burnt toast, that's not called eating. Ela, you have hana from that is davka, where it is chorachol kodem zmanam v'alachar zmanam lo paka isura. So the peka isura is why it's mutter on Pesach. We can even eat this. It's basically like eating a piece of rock or eating a piece of paper. It's not food. Ad shesharif le'ila gamri, until it's completely burnt, and that's why it's mutter. Now the Rosh.
So after zmano, you can still eat it on Pesach?
You can eat it if you burn it before. If you burn it before the zman, you can eat it on the zman. But it's not really eating because it's so burnt. Again, it's not like you have a nice little crust on your toast. This is like completely when you've left it in the toaster for 25 minutes or whatever. It's just completely black. And then when you break the black, it's just all black on the inside as well. But to that point, that's not chometz, and you can eat it.
Why does it matter? Yeah.
Says the Ran.
Why Why does it matter if it's before the Zman? Like,
Because Pekka Isser, he says Pekka Isser, the Isser isn't Makviyah, so therefore you have Chometz, because you have before 6, there's no beer Chometz, because there's no Chometz to be Mavar. But once it's entered into Pesach, and I have a chiyuv of beer on this Chometz, and therefore doing beer on the Chometz, just because you burnt it doesn't help. You still have to get rid of it. Now the Rosh here, Mutter Bahano, Pshita, Lotzricha, you have a Gargaz Mono, Amarava. L'kagon shenifso mechilis lekelev, Dumi de Pashi Sheishva. So here we have again it's nifso mechilis kelev. V'yesh roitzim loymor lav davka hano. So again, it's like the Ran. Some say lav davka hano dehu adin nami achila. The afra ba'almahu. You're not eating food. You're not eating chametz. You're eating bits of dust. V'lo mistaver. The afal pi the batla dasa oichal etzokolat. Even though you're eating it, you're not eating it because the dasa that you have, that you're saying, that I'm eating this food, it's bottled dasa because everyone else wouldn't be eating it. So therefore, it's not called eating. Mikol makom kaven deihu ka'achol aser. That since he is eating it, it's become aser. So there's a lashon which they say to the Rosh called achshaveh, that since he is eating it, he is giving a cheshivas to this food. That since I like eating burnt toast, again very burnt toast, therefore I'm giving a cheshivas to this food, and it's called achilat. B'ken kasav arav the hanav kamina the mutter bahano la achros mano va bechila lo. So for sure, so everyone agrees because the Gemara says that this burnt bread that's mutter bahano. You can burn it, you can feed it to your dog, whatever you want to do with it. It's mutter bahano. You can sell it, but you can't eat it. So mahai time enami also kutach bavli ki achol te'tzanan elo oivim v'pesach kutach bavli. So the Rosh, so my cloak is here, the Rosh and the Ran, as to whether there is a heter achila on that. On that bread that's being destroyed. Now the big nafkamina that comes out of all this is to do with medicines and on Pesach. So here's the Ramah in Yore. He says, Mutter l'sor of sheretz. There's nothing to do with Pesach. You can burn a sheretz or shar davar iser, and then eat it for refuah. So you can burn it. You can take it out of achilas kelev l'chayr if you burn it, and then you can have it for refuah. Even a chaylish that doesn't have sakana. Chutz mi b'oy avodas chachamim. The things that atzei avodas chachavim that has a higher level of iser hano. But the Ramah here says that you can take a sheretz, burn the crap out of it, and then just eat it for refuah. So the Ad Avraham on this Ramah, Ketav ha minchas Yaakov. So the Ramah is saying that it's mutter for refuah, but it's aser for not for refuah. You can't just take a bug, burn it, and eat it. Why not? Once it's posul mi achilat kelev, so therefore what's the problem? Why can't I eat it? It's not food. It's being yotzimi min esher. So the Minchas Yaakov says, I don't know why it's also for shalola refu. It's only also for the sick person. Everyone should be able to eat it. Dahabalav hachi nifsa min le'achila. Is this not something davar le'achol? It's not something. It's not food to eat. So therefore, you're not eating it. V'nelmu meimenu divrei harosh. So the Ad Avraham is saying, I'll tell you why. Because of the Rosh, prepared place by Pesachim. Again, we're talking about here, this is in Yore. It's nothing to do with Pesach. This is to do with Kol Yisrael B'Torah. Just take it out of Achilas Adam and eat it. The Chomet Shaharchu Kodem Zmano Asher L'Achila Afal Pi Shelo Haya Alav Adayin Shem Isra Koidem. So Chometz, again, Chometz before Zman. You can't eat it, even though before Zman there was never also to eat it. So you took it out of the Achila. It wasn't a Dover Sha'aser you took out of Achila. You had Dover and Mutter, you took it out of Achila. Once it's taken out of Achila, then it still doesn't have the same code. Mishum Darminim mi de Achle Achshavei. So again, this is the key lashon going into the Rosh is mi de Achle Achshavei. So you have this idea Achshavei that since I ate it, I gave it a cheshivas It's like you have the chashivas, therefore it's aser. Ve'im kein hachinami gavi sheret sarof ilav l'refua vatai en lahatcher bechila. You can't matter it bechila. After nifsad melachol, even though it's nifsad from eating it, adam miyahu taima damrinan de mechila achshave. Since you ate the burnt sherets, you gave it a chashivas, and therefore it becomes back into food for you, and therefore it's aser. It's only when you ate it for refu it's mutter. Da'az is not shach to say that you ate it, you gave a chashivas, because your sickness proves that you only ate it because of the chashivas or only because of refu. So you only did it for refu. The fact that you're eating for refu shows you don't want to eat it as a food. Okay, that's also mashmos of the Ramos. He brings it in the Rambam. You don't have to get rid of this moldy bread because it's not achilat kelev. How else it be before the man Israel kamo avilo hachi lo katav rak she'eno chayiv lebaer aval bechila mashma da aser. So he's bringing the Rambam like the Rosh that there's aser to eat it. V'hainu mishum damrin me'achli achshavei v'ne'gabi chametz yish matirim gam le'achila kamo shekadas v'rosh v'pesachim kamo kam v'shari surim v'adai sheish lesor midrabanan. So at least here with the sherets which you burnt, it's got an iser de rabbanan because of achshavei. So this is the din of achshavei, which is from the Rosh. Shechayr is how it comes down in the Poskim. Even though the Ran says you can eat this burnt toast on Pesach, the achshavei means that it is also on Pesach. We have a tshuva of Moshe Feinstein. So you have this boiris. Boiris is like the idea of washing up liquid. She'oisen alcohol sheba mi kelev. So I don't know what this means. Alcohol from kelev. Shepolga mi achilat kelev in mutter linakos kelim bo. So can you clean your kelim with a dishwashing soap that is made from aser devarim? So you get the soap and then you put it on the plate and then you heat up the plate and then the flavor of the washing up liquid goes into the plate and then treifs it up. That's the pashtus. Tina bedover boiris alcohol you make from kelev. So kelev is this iser treif. Oifen asis the alcohol ushim atchila. Mevashlen chalav im mini acid. Again, he has some strange spellings of English, I think. So you have acid and you mix it up with fats. So it's not roy lechilas adam anymore. So again, this isn't a din on Pesach. We said anything, it's only on Pesach that you need to go yotzi mechilas kelev, because we see that soor is so you still have to do beer on soor. So therefore, chilas kelev is still also, even though people don't eat soor, the dogs would. So you've taken out. So once the kelev is with the acid, people wouldn't eat it. There's a chiluk she'ena roy lechilas mevashlen l'toy b'chatichas v'gaz ad shenasa mizeh alcohol shehu sama mavis. So it's called in laharba balechayim. So you're creating from this dish soap, you've created this poison for many balechayim. So is a mutter to use is boiris to clean kelim. Now it doesn't sound after this introduction I want to actually clean my kelim from this, because you know what, he's using acid and all sorts of poison. Like I don't want this near my plates, but that's what. If emes a davar, so he kind of says that this is seemingly what he's been told. He hasn't gone to the factory to check it. I don't see any problem with this at all, because a rak le'achol davar also shenifso mechilis v'kelev also harosh. So only to eat something that's a osir that's nifso mechilis v'kelev, that's where the rosh is osir b'psachim metam kevin de iu ka'achol le'osir. So again, v'hu mitam achshavei, that since he ate it, he gives the chashivas to the food. So once it's yotze mi achilas kelev, then you need to have the din of achshavei before it's also, otherwise it's mutter. And we say in the Magen Avraham, we'll see this memashal b'sachar she'orim. Even if you eat the ink, the leiche achshave. So therefore eating the chametz, you see, eating this chametz, that's yotze mechilas kelev. You can eat it as long as it's an achshave. The kain hu sham bebir hagra. So the gra also agrees. The badash shenase melok boyer sham hu kelev shenefso mechilas kelev. Listening leisis lachametz. You can put it into an isa to make chametz because even it's not a chiluk she'eno ochlo kamo shehu ela shenotun la ha'isa letakanas leikas varas achshave. So therefore, when you're putting these things in, so therefore, buy kitchen products, you don't need a hechsher. By so far anyway, by refuah, you don't need a hechsher. Okay, I can't bring up the Chazanish right now, but Chazanish is holding that. Basically, all the refuahs are good. You can take it, but we'll see the refuahs later. Now here, the Shulchan Aruch, dayo, it's the ink, shehu mavashel b'schar she'orim. So you seem to be making ink out of beer. Mutter lichtov bo. You can write with it. Again, this is Orach Chaim in Hilchos Pesach. So you can write with this ink on Pesach. Why can you write on this ink on Pesach? Because you can get hana from chametz. That is that you destroy the chametz. That yotze mechilas kelev. You bring this is the Charchu svara. It's yotze mechilas kelev before Pesach. Therefore, you can get hana and write with this ink during Pesach. The Magen Avraham mutter lichtov bo. Now the Magen Avraham has a shaila here that maybe, maybe you'll put the komos into your mouth, and then you eat chametz on Pesach. The chametz shenifsol mechilas kelev osur bechila, keven shenoten shelo b'kavana. So you see, this is the osur bechila. Here's the Magen Avraham bringing down the shittas of the Rosh of achshave. You can't eat the food because it's. So why is he saying osur bechila? Why not like the one? Because you're going to achshave. The keven shenoten shelo b'kavana leke kapeda. Since you're like chewing on your pen or something, there's no achshave on the chametz, and therefore it's mutter to davka lechlo b'kavano also to achshave. So there's the Magen Avraham bringing then the shittas through, because here's the Chok Yaakov mutter lechto bo v'katav sham b'trumas edeshen v'lo chashinen sheiten komas l'toch piv. So Magen Avraham bring down the Trumas Edeshen. We're not worried that he's going to put it in his mouth. Venerally. Lefizeh poshut. De'im nafel dayo or shar chametz shenifso mechilas kelev v'tocha meichel. So what happens if this dayo, if this ink now falls into your cholent pot, if you can have cholent on Pesach? A fila beruva ba'alma bottle, even if it's even with a roiv ba'alma, it's mavatal. Kaven the afra ba'alma hook, it's yosi mechilas kelev. But lo achshavei be'achilas obezeh. So if you mix something in, if something falls into if the milk falls into your chicken soup and you eat the chicken soup because it's bottle, there's no achshavei on the milk. So therefore, it just gets the dinner. You need to have the achshavei in order to be osir once it's yosi mechilas kelev. Ki ein kavana rak le'echol ha'machal. You just want to eat the food. V'zu pogum legamri hu miyakaro. And this thing is just completely pogum, the food, so therefore you didn't add the food. Again, that's the chorko. V'ayin lekama. V'nira tehu etin ledayo shmasirim bo shnasis alidei petite chomet. So it's also other types of. Now here the piskei teshuvos, again, which is the guy who's in. He's the guy who's in Bayit V'gan. So he has some halacha lamaisa stories. So again, here he's talking here on the Mishabura. The Mishabura brings down V'lo chashin and shemi yishkach. So because it's ein kapeda. So this is brought down in the halacha. Umikan nilmad le'inyan shedivas hapeh b'mei peh. I guess mei peh is mouthwash. So the mouthwash isn't for eating. You just spit it out, especially Listerine. Again, this is the svara. So you're able to use it on Pesach. even though they have ingredients of chometz in the listerine, it's mutter on Pesach. So since whatever chometz they put into listerine and stuff for eating, but through all the other ingredients, it becomes destroyed. It's not called chometz. You can't say it's achshave because you're not there to eat it. So even though while you're rinsing out, you feel the taste. Who cares? As you said in Dio, because it just like in the din of the Dio, when the ink, you can eat the ink as long as you're not trying to eat the ink. So the ink goes into the mouth and you taste the chometz that's in the ink, no problem. So if we see here that the mouthwash, there's mutter on Pesach for these din. So everything we come to really at this point is that all these dinim of on Pesach of plates you need a hechsher for, medicine you need a hechsher for, and all these things you need a hechsher for, seemingly absolute nonsense. Now, we get into a bit of a problem, which is the next step, which is noisim tam lifgam. And we're just kind of really going to do an overview of it. Here we have the Shulchan Aruch on, again this is in Pesach, noisim tam lifgam mutter gam b'Pesach. So it says easy psak of the Mechaber, noisim tam lifgam, it's also mutter on Pesach. So when you put something that has a bad flavor in, it's mutter on Pesach. The Haggadah Ramah yesh machmirim, yesh machmirim, that noisim tam lifgam on Pesach is also. The kain nohegim be'elu medinas, and that's what we're noheg on this medinas. So b'mokum sheish minhag lahachmir, where you have a minhag lamachmir, or even mashahu v'noisim tam lifgam asur. So even a tiny bit noisim tam lifgam asur. Now this becomes a problem. Have the Chav's das gets into a bit here. Is tamu lifgam ein the taz. The alfin and me nevela. So we have the question is why? Where is noisim tam lifgam? Why is noisim tam lifgam mutter? So Pashas the here he brings it down the name of the Taz, but I think the Ran says this, that noisim tam lifgam is the pasuk where you have from nevela. So nevela is the pasuk in the Torah of that you give the ger. You give nevela to the ger to eat, and therefore, if he can't eat it, if it's yosim achilas ger, a ger wouldn't eat it. So then, if it's noisim tam lifgam, he wouldn't eat it. So therefore, we have the pasuk just like so. Therefore, the nevela again, it has to be that the ger will eat it. If the nevela is so messed up or whatever that it's it's gone off, you left it lying around and it's got maggots crawling out of it. The ger wouldn't eat it. Since the ger wouldn't eat it, therefore it's not called a nevela and it's not also for the Jew to eat. The after the nevela b'inishaya pogum legamri, but that nevela, if it's just the pogum a little bit, you can't eat it. Achiyeh ein a roy leger, that is not roy leger b'chlal. And here we're talking about a case where you add something that's pogum, so that especially in our refuah or things like that, you're adding. I thought it's quite interesting that. In America, there's a lot of alcohol in the medicines, and there's a tax on alcohol. So therefore, they put pogum things in the alcohol, so they don't have to pay the tax on it. So it's cheaper to have your refuah. So the goyim, thanks to the tax, davka put in pogum into medicine, so that the alcohol is not roy lechila, so you don't have to pay a tax on it. So that all kind of works out spooky well for those halachic out there. So that's not the time lefgam, but people still eat refuah, and also you have issues where people actually like the flavor, they add orange, whatever. But ein a roy leger legamri, that's on the nevela. So he's asking him, "Ken hechi alfina mine pogum cold? You have something that's pogum, you should add some crap into the alcohol, and you add the alcohol into the thing, so it's still roy lechila. Convert here to ran, but what Zara at the time pogum mitzar hager." So here we have the idea that the ger still wouldn't put crap into the food. So if you have so again, ben yomo, lav ben yomo is a tam pogom. So if you have something, so what things don't go well together? The Gemara says that beer and wine don't go well together. So one of the reasons why it's mutter to have the sherry casks are mutter, because whiskey is distilled beer, and port is a fortified wine. So you mix them together. It's noizin tam nefgam. So if you put beer, now you can say that whiskey is different to beer because it's distilled. You can argue that point, but that's the case in the Gemara of noizin tam nefgam, that pour beer into your wine, then it doesn't make it as good. So that's noizin tam nefgam. But you can still drink it, but the goy would never do that. So since the goy would never do that, so therefore noizin tam nefgam wouldn't it would be, it's a tsar of the ger, so the ger wouldn't do it, so therefore that's enough. So the ger doesn't want that tam in it. Therefore, if a ger wouldn't do it, if a goy wouldn't put it in, therefore the Jews are allowed to put it in. Because without this pogom, it will be yotzer mishubach. But harashba, so we have a different tam for why this is. Ketav the misvara yedin, we know it from a Surah, gave him to tam ke'ikr. So what's tam ke'ikr? Tam ke'ikr is that even if you put something in and there's no mamoshes there, even if it just have the flavor of it is like there is mamoshes, and therefore it's osir. So if you put something that has a flavor in it, and therefore you put in white, and then what is the tam ke'ikr? When does the tam ke'ikr go away? Is when it is bottled. So really the Iker Tzan, so we have, again, in simplified, we have the Ran, who says that it's the Gezeres HaKosov, which is why anything that a ger wouldn't do, or a goy wouldn't do, is mutter, and therefore noisen tam lefgam is anything a ger wouldn't do. And the Rashba says that tam ke'ikr, and therefore it's mevatel. And therefore, just like you have any din of bittul, so to here, that since it's a pogom and it doesn't add good flavor, so therefore it's bottled baroiv. Now, bringing this over to Pesach, if it's on Pesach, so therefore the Ran is holding that a ger wouldn't add crappy stuff to food, so therefore on Pesach there's no difference. So therefore here we have that the Machaber Noisen Tam Lefgam Motor Gamba Pesach is going like the Shitas Haran that is going on the posuk. That so there's no difference. Anything a ger wouldn't do or a goy wouldn't do, it's pogrom. Therefore, on Pesach he wouldn't do it. On the weekday he wouldn't do it. So there's no difference. However, if we think through the svara of the Rashba, he's going on the tam of bittul. Since it's the tam of bittul, chometz is not bottle. Even the kol shehu of chometz is not bottle. Since the kol shehu of chometz is not bottle, so therefore tam lifgan, you can't bottle the tam, and therefore it would still be osir on Pesach, and therefore you have the Ramah holding by the sheetas of the Rashba, the yesh machmirin. Why are they machmir? Because noisen tam lefgam on Pesach is not bottled. Again, not like the Mechaber who says it's mutter. So it comes out of here that you have also the Chavas Das later on. He says. So he makes a chiluk here. So once the food that's gone pokum, it's like it's not food anymore. No one would eat it. The whole iser is paka because it's not food anymore. So so whatever the ger wouldn't eat, it's not called a nevela. And even if you choizer and you fixed up the foods, and you spiced it up, it's mutter, and that's how we get the kosher pig gelatin. The kavar beracha is it's already gone from it, and therefore you're bringing it from dust. You're not bringing it from food. After benoisen tan lifgam also bepolgam velosov hashpiach. So now this is an important din to know. Noisen tam lifgam is also bepolgam velosov hashpiach. So where it's pogum, it was a noisen tam lifgam, but at the end it was good. That's also Hayini mishum de'enu rak pogum kol shehu. It's only a small level of pogum, but lo yitzah yisra miyasura. So it didn't actually turn into a dover that's also a dover that no one will eat. So you add a little bit of isra. So you have this alcohol, and you add a little bit of crap to it so that people won't eat it. So then, if it is mashbiach, if it returns back to the edible form, then it is it's still osir, because the isser never pocket from the pogum. It's only osir when it's pogum, and when it's not pogum anymore, therefore it's returned to isser.
Even if the shvicha isn't from the chametz itself.
Yeah, once the pogum is not pogum anymore. So that still has the din of osir. So if you buy these, so here when you have, again, like he says here, Eino rak pogum kol shehu. So Moshe Feinstein says that if you can return it to the pogum to shvach easily, so then it's not called pogum, and therefore we still have the issue of. So this is why some people hold of that there's an issue with medicines, even though it's yotze mi achilat kelev. But if it's noisim tam, that's why it's yotze mi achilat kelev. So then, is the machlokas here the machmirim. The idea of the machmirim is that you can be returned back to something that's a davar hashbiach, and if it's easily, so therefore it's not really pogum in the first place. So that's as far to say that there's issues with medicines, but there are if it's just yotze mi achilat kelev, the whole food itself. So then we go back to what we had before. Again, the Chazon Ish says, yeah, all medicines are mutter. But if the reason is pogum, and you have this as a thing in America where they add pogum to the alcohol to not have to pay the taxes on it, that can easily be reversed, and therefore even though that alcohol people wouldn't eat, it would still have a problem with eating that medicine on Pesach, only according to the Ramah, who's machmir. He says yesh machmirim, the keino hagim in those medinos. It's not so the psak of the Ramah, but he's definitely not to saying that this is what to do. But according to the Rashba, if you go like who learns the whole din of pogom differently than the Ran, and therefore comes out with a different din.